Hi everyone. Today we're going to continue where we left off, and so we're going to show you these dates. This is a C-spell wheel, and each one of those quadrants is a spell, 33 and a third year. And so you might want to refer back to it on the video a little bit later, because what we're going to talk about today is why is the beast so strong at this particular time, and why has its strength been coming forth? The sea beast wheel, the context wheel for the beast cycle being 66 years, and the context wheel puts 66 years in each quadrant. So there's 4 beast cycles in a sea beast wheel. And so we're looking at this particular wheel. It started in 1849. That's our base, and so it went until 1916. Now, notice in regard to the sea beast wheel, it might be good to look at this, the Arvagable wheel, which indicates that this is the beast quadrant over here, and this is normally a time when the beast is in its element, and this is the time up here in this second quadrant when the beast doesn't have quite so much power. It's more or less distracted, or gets distracted, and it gets swept up into something, into newer things. And over here, that's where the leaf, and recall that we said that was the fire in air, what the leaf represented, fire being like spirit and action, activity type of thing, at least for this arena, for the Cephas arena. And the same with all the other arenas in the quadrants, meaning the male, the male, the male, the male, and the female, the female, the female, the female. So it starts with the going forth, and then it follows by a time when it's receptive. You pull it together and see what you have, and nurture what needs to be nurtured, and so forth. So so that over in this corner we see that we have Uz and Hak, and so it is the beast quadrant, so we expect them to come forth at that particular time. And of course we had for example, in Europe, the European revolutions of 1849 and all that, and in the United States over here, the Civil War occurred. And then in here, in the world, this was World War I occurred in here, very close to where we enter into the second quadrant here, up into the light, into the sunlight, into the tree, where there should be more space and freedom to do and all that kind of thing. But at that time, if you look at the Elohist chart of light and darkness, and you'll notice that it dipped down into Oahspe, the milieu atmosphere, and also dipped into Oahspe even deeper so, and even touched in a nebula here in this particular time, which was World War II. But in 1949, and again what we mentioned in a previous video, is that in the corners, it sometimes happens that that Jehovah's angels, or even the mortals, they make great headway at the corners, because it's responsibility on the S wheel, or I should say for the S man, on the when we're looking at the wheels that deal with the S-man, the spirit man, and that would have been the C spell, which we looked at previously. And but on the beast wheel, it's more or less like the opposite way, in that the S-man takes responsibility here to keep the wheel going and all that, keep things. And the opportunity for the beast man seems to occur in the corners. So, for example, from 1849 to 1882 was the height of the spiritualism movement. And then thereafter, the beast started going, whoa, 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 wait a minute, this is all hokey, you know, and so you had people like Houdini, you know, trying to disprove spiritualism and so forth. So, and again in 1949, so in 1949, you had, we're going to use the United States again for the reasons previously mentioned, because it's at the forefront of the movement in the cosmos, even though it doesn't seem like it now, but we can explain why it doesn't seem like that right now. But at the moment, we're looking at this. And in 1949, around this time, the beast was that while there was in the United States the McCarthy hearings, where the anti-communism and people were getting blacklisted and so forth, more or less a stifling of freedom of expression and freedom to make a livelihood even. Well, anyway, so in 1982, now this was Ronald Reagan, president, and this was the era of the internet and the World Wide Web and so forth being set forth. But over here in the corner is what we want to look at, 2016, because that's exactly right where we are right now. In this corner, 2016, we're in the corner, and it's the opportunity for the beast. Now, in this particular corner, now you see this is a crucial time, 2016, because it is a changeover from the arena of Cephas to the arena of S. Now, that seems like, wow, that should be something really great. And it can be, but it doesn't necessarily have to be, because it depends upon what S does. S meaning the spiritual, the highest, best of the spirit realm, and how they are interacting with mortals. Because sometimes they say at that point, well, we're going to step back a pace and let mortals stand on their own, or sometimes they're in there helping. So it just kind of all depends. And so that's where we are right now. Now, I want to mention about the beast. We heard in this quadrant here, this quadrant, and we read this from Oahspe. Now, this is the Mohammedan quadrant, and so we have seen a lot of turmoil and agitation from that part of the world regarding the rest of the world, because that is their particular quadrant, and as you were moving toward the, and of course that's, you know, the 2001 and all that, and so that's a part of this particular quadrant right here. But then that can change as we go forth this way, but not necessarily, which we will see later on. And but by 2049, then those who follow the light of Jehovah will be establishing something in there, which we'll see when the time comes how that goes. But essentially, it's going to be forming fraternity, moving spirit into corporate, and so that's what we can look forward to happening. And it continues all the way around the wheel here, 2116, 2149, which is when the Father's kingdom is first established, which is going to be right here in this corner. So there's going to be this. There's something's going on when you see that, and you go, what? Because where's the beast? And is the beast making movements, and of course the beast will be there, and it will be making movements. But as we move up to 2182, it's going to start a momentum up in this. There'll be a momentum, really overwhelmingly so toward the Father's kingdom, which will take an ascendancy all the way around the world in 2249. Now what we're going to do is we're going to further look at other cycles that connect with this. A question might arise is, well, how come the beast is so active here? Well, the answer is that the beast is active all the time. It's just that at certain periods he's more active than others. Things go more along with each other. I mean, with the beast, the way the beast wants it to go. And this being essentially the fire and the space for the spirit, and the space for the spirit to give forth. And why is the beast particularly active there? Well, everyone is more or less particularly active here, but the beast. So now, perhaps the best way to explain this would be through a hint or a clue, and that's to look at the tablet of Vimathachava. And you will notice that essentially over in this region right here, you're going to see the three-headed beast. And on one of the inner degrees, inner planes. And so we might think of, for example, in mythology, Greek mythology, they had the three-headed, I believe, a dog, and it was supposed to guard the gates of Hades, and if I recall correctly. Anyway, that might give you some idea of what we're dealing with. Another consideration is the three heads, the 666. Anyway, that's this being the time of Cephas, of going forth. Now this is a lot more where the beast goes forth with. It says in Oahspe, one horn of righteousness and the other is militancy. And by righteousness they mean self-righteousness, and militancy means to enforce the beast idea of what righteousness is. And so that's the two horns on Cephas. You see, that's the time for going forth and getting this established. Cephas says, mine is an enforced peace. But now, enforced peace is the beast confused that with violence. It doesn't have to be violent. It's not violence at all. But it can be held as such. I don't mean violence held as such. I mean the peace can be the alternative. You see, you hold the peace. And you get enough people that hold the peace, that peace cannot be broken by those inside trying to, or those within that milieu of peace, trying to disturb and disrupt the peace. it's somewhat analogous to the parents who have a child and the child is crying, and the parents can more or less focus their attention then on the child, and the child feels their concern, their warmth, their love, their peace, and is calmed by it. So that's, but the beast will take Cephas, as we say, and push forward with it, and try to establish what he or she considers to be the highest best. From their viewpoint, rather than from Jehovah's viewpoint, it will be from their own particular viewpoint. And so, and this is, now we're in 2016, you see that's the movement away from that. That's about to be lost into S. And there's always this transition in between. Just like any ecosystem, there's a transition buffer period in between. So, for example, you have a meadow in ecology, a meadow and a forest. There's always a place in between where they sort of come together, and there's somewhat of each in there. And that's, these times of changes are like that as well. So we'll continue now with another video.